And here's Malaysia. Now let's take a look, shall we? The country of Malaysia is split in two pieces separated by the South China Sea. This bit sits at the base of the Malay Peninsula, and this bit is perched upon the top corner of Borneo, a tropical, humid, equatorial, monsoon-swept segment of the earth. People have lived in Malaysia for many thousands of years, but little is known about its most ancient inhabitants. Whoever they were, they ended up pushed out by waves of new arrivals in the first millennium BC, who became the ancestors of the modern Malays. Over the centuries, the peninsula culturally soaked up the influence of India in the form of Hinduism and Buddhism, and it was a fusion of these religions that was observed in the kingdom of Lanka Suka. This long-lived state was first described by the Chinese in the 6th century and was a prominent commercial power, trading aloes wood, camphor, elephant tusks, and rhino horns. The Malay Peninsula was afterwards absorbed into the Sumatra-based Srivijaya Empire, and in 1025 was invaded by the South Indian king Rajendra Chola. From the 1200s onward, merchants from the west brought Islam to the region, which was increasingly adopted by the peasant farmers. Around the year 1400, the leader Parameswara founded the Malacca Sultanate in the peninsula south. Ideally located in a busy shipping region, the country gained wealth as a booming mercantile trade port, gaining its peak in power and riches under Sultan Mansur Shah. The Sultanate's position at the crux of the lucrative spice trade tempted the lip-licking Portuguese to snatch the land for themselves, which they did in 1511. Over the years, several incensed sultans attempted to force the Portuguese out, but their efforts failed. Over a century later, however, in 1641, the Dutch succeeded in seizing Malacca for themselves. With Malacca's decline as a trade port, the Johor Sultanate rose in prominence. Now, Johor in the 1600s went to war against the rival state of Jambi down in Sumatra, and in the process enlisted the help of the Bugis people from Sulawesi. With the Johor Bugis victory in 1679, the Bugis decided to stay in the Malay Peninsula, where they founded the state of Selangor, which would later become enriched from its bountiful stores of tin. Another place known for its tin mining was Britain, and well, speaking of which, here they come, right on time. In 1786, the Sultan of Kedah permitted the British to take the Penang Islands, from which handy foothold they went on to take Singapore, Malacca, and Labuan. British control in the region increased over the years, and Chinese immigrants were encouraged to settle in Malay lands as tin miners, where in the 1800s, amidst the mud and malaria, a small settlement grew and became the city of Kuala Lumpur, now the country's capital. Of course, there were also ethnic tensions between the Malays and Chinese. Meanwhile, the British added North Borneo to their possessions, built railways, and started plantations of rubber, pepper, and tobacco. Then a big change occurred with the outbreak of World War II, in which the Japanese invaded and assumed control of both Borneo and the Malay Peninsula, and promptly began to massacre the Chinese. Britain returned and defeated Japan and regained power, but things were different after the war. The Japanese occupation had fanned the flames of nationalism into a formidable blaze. During the Malayan emergency, the communists and the Chen Piang fought for Malay independence, and the horrors of military conflict followed until 1960. 3 years after the independence of Malaysia as a state within the British Commonwealth, communist insurgency continued for many more years until a peace agreement was finally signed. Meanwhile, under the leadership of Prime Minister Mahathir Mohamad, Malaysia experienced massive changes for the better, with industrialization bringing immense wealth and modernization dramatically improving living conditions. An economic miracle potently symbolized by the construction of the Petronas Towers, which for a time were the tallest buildings in the world. Malaysia today ranks among the richest of nations, enjoying a very high level of human development and high quality of life, whilst also giving women some real snazzy shoes, and who doesn't enjoy the taste of Malaysian cuisine? Anyway, that's it for Malaysia, and that's all from me for now. Bye-bye!